So welcome to another episode of DIO. It's season 2, and we're not going to go deep into this. We're not going to do it on camera since it was an emergency that came up and we had to kind of do it in a hurry. My kids 2 nights ago, I think it was, got done with their shower, thankfully, and when they were done, I heard a little drip at somewhere. So I kind of searched around to see where that dripping water sound was coming from. Was it a faucet the kids left on? And I pinpointed it to our water heater, the exit valve for the hot water, or the exit pipe. It was dripping just really slow. Didn't think much about it. I tried to get like a little saucer or something, or a bowl underneath it to catch it, and I touched it. As soon as I touched it, hot water and steam just flew like gallons and gallons and gallons out of that pipe. That was just, it came loose. Luckily, I had a shut-off valve in the water input, the cold water going in there, and I installed a shut-off valve, 10, 15 years ago. Sharkbite and push to connect pieces. There were definitely Sharkbite pieces that you could buy in, couplers and shut-off valves and stuff. This is like a shut-off here. If you have an emergency, you want to keep your water on, but you may have a part in your line that has broken. You can put this on your pipe, cut it with a hacksaw or plumbing cutter tool, the little ratcheting tool or whatever. You can stick that on there and then turn your water back on and hopefully have water somewhere for your coffee or to wash your hands or whatever. So if we go back many years, and they used to make this gray poly pipe, or, I think Shell Oil or something invented it or sold it, as kind of like a super cheap miracle piping thing, until 1997, I believe. This stuff was known to expand and bust. Chlorine, I guess, over time in your water supply interacted with this material. So they stopped making. 15 plus years ago, our water heater just exploded at this poly piece here. The water just was leaking. It flooded the house several times, even when we fixed it. And by the way, you can't just use plumber's glue and a coupler with this. It'll only work so long, whether it's a day or 6 months. It'll explode again. But the good news is now there are so many of these Sharkbite couplers and stuff there is an adapter that adapts poly pipe to your PEX or copper. It says, CPVC, PRT, whatever that is. And it'll adapt your old plumbing here. And you probably should just replace all of this, but it's expensive. It's like $4,000 to $6,000 to have a plumber come out, supposedly, and reinstall, 200 foot of pipe and a few connectors, L brackets and RTs and stuff like that to run to your kitchen and your bathroom. But we ended up getting, before this, a compression tool and compression bands and couplers and stuff like that would go in between the variety of things. As you can see, the thing is, I think there were compression bands that were different for different purposes, going from poly to that brass fitting. May have used one band. Going from PEX to the brass fitting may have been a different band we were supposed to use, but I ended up just using like 2 or 3 bands just to stop the water from leaking. On this particular one, and you see that corrosion there, that's not from this band here. That was from the band that come from the water heater that was connected there. So it had a water bead on it after we did it, banded it with like 4 bands, 2 on each side. It never really dripped to the floor or anything like that, but it caused this big buildup of, you know, calcium and minerals, I guess. And it lasted, you know, probably 15 years before it gave us a problem. Now, if it was just that area that broke or whatever, it probably would have been a pretty fast and easy fix, cheaper fix. But as you can see on this PEX pipe here, or maybe you can't see, it's very rough looking because it got ate up with those minerals and calcium and stuff. So no matter what I tried to do to sand it, cut it, that's not a perfect cut, but I sanded the outside and everything, and I used vinegar to try to eat up the calcium. It would not seal no matter what. So these Sharkbite things could not perform a miracle on that, and we ended up having to get some new PEX pipe. So some of that calcium and mineralization went down the gray pipe, you know, so that was how it would have been hooked up, the gray pipe coming from the floor. But we cut it, I think, even further down than this pipe here shows. We found an area where it was mostly not mineralized around it, wrapped a rag with vinegar around that area to try to eat up some of the calcium, did a light sanding, and then we used the adapter that adapts poly to PEX. That's similar to this. It just has, you know, these ends look similar. The poly end will have a little like white or clear tube inside of it that I guess helps seal, you know, it better than just the PEX. That piece was like $15 or $16, and then just in case I needed more, you know, to connect multiple flex or PEX pipes to it, you know, just in case the mineralization on the poly was just too bad to deal with, I bought, you know, another coupler and, you know, a shut off here, just in case I had to put 2 or 3 different couplers on it and check for leakage when the water was pressurized on multiple connections. And I replaced this with a Sharkbite water heater to PEX pipe, you know, hose. So you can get them in like 12, 15, 18, 21 inches or so, like, you know, and you just push to connect on your PEX pipe there, not your poly. I don't think it would work. It'd probably have a bad leak there. And on the other end, it just has the brass nut or whatever that you screw into the top of the water heater, and it has a gasket there. Now it says use pipe tape or whatever on the threads, but if this didn't have it, and the other one, I tested it to make sure there weren't any leaks, just the gasket alone sealed it. So luckily, you know, like I said, the kids got their bath that night, and by the next night they had a working shower again, hot water. And we tried just the hose part to connect to, you know, the PEX pipe, but like I said, that was ate up too much, so we had to replace the pipe and add the PEX to poly adapter. And you know, I was fingers crossed thinking, well, something's got to go wrong here. You know, it was about, how much was it, about $50 or so. The actual hose was like $22. The PEX 10-foot piece of pipe was like $8, and a little less than $16 for that adapter. Yeah, so around $47 or so after taxes, we were able to get it back and up and running. So you know, you can be a plumber with this. You can fix this. You don't have to pay $200 or $300 for a plumber to come out. I guarantee you, if they said we have to go under the house to replace piping under there, it would have went from a $200 to $300 job probably to a $600 job or more. And then they would probably try to sell you on, you have to replace all this poly pipe here, and it's going to be, you know, $4,000 plus.